Not many brands prefer doing this at an additional cost. Yet, you went for it.
We need to have an individual sustainability goals, we used to say, and we need to have an organizational level. But we can't achieve any of the sustainability goal without a proper stakeholder involvement.
Hello, everyone. Very glad that we are doing a very exciting podcast today. Very happy from Recykal side that we partnered with Licious, and today we are going to discuss about a very, very important topic on plastic neutrality. And joining me in this podcast is Mr. Rajesh Menon, Chief Quality and Sustainability Officer from Licious. A very warm welcome to Rajesh to this podcast, and looking forward to have a very exciting conversation together.
As we are all enlightened to have this conversation, thank you for that. I would thank, first of all, Recykal team to enable us to get this plastic neutrality on the day of World Environment Day in alignment with the theme of beat plastic pollution.
So Rajesh, firstly, congratulations on becoming a plastic neutral brand. Could you please shed us some light on what made you go plastic neutral?
Well, if you ask me, the Abhay and Vivek, our co-founders, was off with this vision like, no, we are not just doing a business to sell the meat and seafood, but we are building a brand, and building a brand, it's actually mean a lot. As you know, the sector that we represent is very much unorganized even today. Around 90% of meat ecosystem in India is remain unorganized. And we are in a mission to transform this very much unorganized sector into an organized sector. And building a brand also means a lot. And if you ask me some numbers around it, around 60% plus of new millennials would like to source their food if it is ethically sourced, or if it is coming out of some sort of environmental commitment. So we knew this from the day one. So even if we embarked upon our ESG journey a couple of years back, the sustainability vision was embedded in the DNA of Licious from the day one. So it was not just some sort of commitment or pressure that push us to get this plastic neutrality, but it's part of our DNA.
Very, very glad to know your response on that. Excellent. Moving on, I think we want to know that being plastic neutral is a voluntary action. And not many brands prefer doing this at an additional cost. Yet, you went for it. Can we know why, and what impact will this have on your branding, and how do you think that this will evolve Licious as a very sustainable, responsible and ethical brand from a global perspective?
So, if you ask me, to run a business, you need to have some sort of licenses, right? And if it is in food business, the food business operator should have an FSSAI license, a factory license, etc. But going to some sort of certification is voluntary. And it is not must to have in a D2C sector. If it is a B2B, and if we are involving in some sort of export, there will be demand for having some voluntary certifications in addition to licenses. But if you look into the past, from the very beginning, Licious went for voluntary certifications like food safety management system without even a demand from the consumer, because normally the consumer won't demand right kind of voluntary things. No? So going for beyond compliance or adopt voluntary certifications and standard in letter and spirit is again part of our way of life. There are a lot of examples. It is not just food safety management system certification, which is again a voluntary requirement. In the last year, we got certified for 3 additional standards. And that was the foundation that we set for the ESG journey. And all of us knows that ESG or sustainability is not just a destination, it's a journey. And we started that journey by adopting voluntary standards and systems in place. And if you ask me, there are no meat brand in India which is certified for SA 8000 social accountability standard. Across the globe, there are only less than a dozen of companies certified for SA 8000, which is such a difficult standard to get implemented. I'm not saying to get certification, but getting certification is quite easy. But maintaining that and implementing that in letter and spirit is the difficult task. Years and years. So we did all of these. So the going to plastic neutrality is just part of our way of life, wherein we wanted in the first year itself to come beyond the compliance. With respect to our usage, if you ask me, it is just around some 330 tons of plastic material we need to go for the EPR last year. But we went beyond almost double of that volume, and we arrived at this plastic neutrality by keeping some tonnage as a buffer as well. And answer to your question, what impact it will have is, again, I would like to repeat that now. We are building a brand, and to build a sustainable brand, we need to meet the aspirations of the future generation, future consumers, and who is ready to pay extra even for such sort of commitments now, which will save and serve the future generations. So it is such a long-term strategy to go for the voluntary systems and standards, and it's give a message to even the internal stakeholders, our own employees. We used to call Licious. No. So this become a part of life in everyday things that what we do. So this kind of commitment now will help us to go beyond always the compliances.
Excellent. I think one of the biggest challenges is to calculate the plastic footprint. And what kind of procedure does Licious follow to accurately monitor their plastic footprint?
Sri Krishna, first of all, I would thank you for that, because you have only enabled us to have in the proper data capture and the transparency to maintain. And obviously, your digital solution helped us a lot into that. But having said that, it is not Licious' own protocol or procedure. Across the globe, there is a defined protocol to arrive at plastic neutrality. And to get a third-party assurance on that, we need to strictly follow the protocol. So having a protocol is not a difficult task, but to get it done on the ground is the difficult task. That we could able to do along with the Recykal tool and approach. So this is in alignment with the world science-based criteria that we arrived at the plastic neutrality. For that, we need to have a lot of internal steps and measures in place, like categorizing our plastic materials that we do have, and how to manage it, how to dispose it, and everything is laid down through a defined protocol and procedure. So that is how we achieved it, and we started monitoring that. How much we consume, how much we generate as waste, how much it will go to in each part of the city, and what can be recycled, what can be repurposed, and what are the different substrates. So all these kind of identification, categorization, and quantification, these are the three fundamentals that we need to have to arrive at plastic neutrality, and then reporting that and arriving at strategies. So I think we traveled together to get this done at this stage.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. I think even at Recykal, we are very clear and very glad to have partnered with Licious, and we will offer all our support. And this is just the beginning of our journey. We have a long way to go together. We also believe going forward that being plastic neutral is the first step towards building a sustainable brand. However, there needs to be strategic changes as a brand, and as you're building a startup and you're becoming a national leader in this space. What are your plans for the future, Rajesh?
I think it may not suffice the time that I have given to talk about all these points, but however, I will try to brief it in whatever way I can. We are into food business, and you know that no, the food is something, and even the sustainability is not something to tackle for the future, but it is to meet the need of today as well. That is what the UN definition for sustainability. So at the same time, we need to ensure the today's requirement and need to ensure the same in the right quality and quantity for the future generation. And that we know how the population is growing, and even now we surpass China's population, and how even India and across the globe, how we will meet the food requirement in 2050 or 2070. So based on this understanding, we arrived at 3 focus areas as the thematic area for our sustainability journey. That is quality, traceability, and sustainability. So quality is must, right, for to be a brand in food, because the ever increasing demand across different categories, the people are looking for the best in quality. And along with that, the food safety is of prime most important. Food safety, which is, we can't negotiate on food safety. And the pandemic gave us a good example about how we should be keen on food safety and health. So that is why we identified quality as the first thematic area for the sustainability journey, followed by the traceability, which will talk about from where it came. Because today the consumers are very much eager about knowing that they are not just happy about the quantum that they are receiving or the price that they are getting, but they also wanted to know from where it is sourced. And then the sustainability is a big terminology. We cannot confine sustainability in a single sentence or a paragraph. We need to have a farm to fork kind of adoption wherein we want to navigate the sustainability journey. So yes, we are the first in this category to cater fresh and chilled meat, because we used to get the frozen, or we used to get the meat slaughtered in front of the eyes. Right? We created a new category, which is fresh and chilled. And when you talk about the sustainability, it is not about handling the pollution. It is also about meeting the other requirements. If India is a country where known for the protein malnutrition, right? And if you look into 17 sustainability development goals, the first 3 are linked to the food segment. And it is very much important for in our country scenario. We are an agrarian economy, but it is said to be the the wastage due to the lack of cold chain to many other infrastructure in India is also very, very huge. Today also we are, and what benefit is going to the fishermen and farmers of this country? When they harvest something, there is no demand, and there is no infrastructure to store it. So there are a lot of, the sustainability is not just tackling the pollution. It is all about the well-being of the mankind and the planet, right? So that is how we strategize our sustainability journey to get it benefit to the farmers and fishermen of the country. Our roadmap is clearly enabling. It's a sharing. We know that we need to have an individual sustainability goals, we used to say, and we need to have an organizational level. But we can't achieve any of the sustainability goal without a proper stakeholder involvement. And for us, it is the consumer and the farmers. So any strategy of Licious is giving equal importance to the internal and external stakeholders, and as of today, we are eliminated middlemen in our business to a certain extent, and the direct transfer of that is giving to the farmers and fishermen of the country. And as you know, doubling the income of farmers is one of the motto that the government is also navigating, right? And how can it get? And the 5 trillion economy, if you ask me, the 1 trillion should come from the agrarian products. So these are our sustainability engagement. No, it is purely aligned with the SDGs and it is purely aligned with the national goals.
Excellent. I think you've already answered some of the things that I was going to ask you, but I want to specifically ask about this to delve into more depth into what you just explained. Your plastic neutrality was achieved because you went beyond compliance requirements, and the recovered plastic has an impact on the waste ecosystem. What type of impact does Licious align with? Is it social, economic, environmental, or anything else? I'm very eager to know what those impacts that you think are the priorities for Licious.
Yeah. Let us start with the social impact. So, as I mentioned, no, the direct transfer of benefit to the farmers and fishermen is the first and foremost. And adding to that, what we are catering is the protein. So, as I mentioned, we are a protein deficient country, and we are far behind what the WHO recommends. So, which is 30 kg per capita consumption, and we are at 5 to 6. And our kind of access now today, in at least in tier 1 and tier 2 cities, we are able to cater this protein to a good chunk of population. That is the second important social impact. And it is not stopping there. The last year we did a massive baseline study among 3 different regions of the country, which includes goat farmers in Rajasthan, fishermen in Tuticorin and Nagapattinam areas of Tamil Nadu, and the freshwater fish farmers of the Bhimavaram area of Andhra Pradesh. So we did a huge baseline study which extended for more than 90 days along with an NGO, and we come up with thematic areas for the social engagement that we need to do for the next 3 or 5 years, which will certainly impact the livelihood of fishermen and farmers, women folks, and the sanitation and education requirement. So this is what about the social impact. And when it comes to the environmental impact, the last year, obviously the plastic neutrality is the biggest achievement. And beyond that, internally, we started monitoring our scope 1 and scope 2, and this year we are starting scope 3 as well. And in scope 1 and scope 2, we came to know that we did the energy audits in all our processing units, and almost we have saved kiloliters of water in our processing. As you know, see, we are into fresh meat process, fresh seafood process, wherein water consumption is must to have for preparing the ice or for the cleaning activities, etc. And now in our processing plant, we started recycling the 50% of the water, and the 50% of the wastage of the water is again recycling for the other purposes. So these kind of initiatives is having a good data of that, and we do have we have like Recykal, we are engaged with some other ESG platform provider, service provider, and today it is at our fingertip what all per kg consumption of water, per kg consumption of electricity, per kg consumption of diesel or whatever, it is there, and based on that we are strategizing towards to move to the renewable energy part. So that is the second phase of the environmental impact initiatives that we have undertaken.
Excellent. I think moving on, I think this will be the last question in this podcast, but wanted to really understand that we at Recykal are very elated to be part of Licious' journey towards plastic neutral. Can we know why you decided to go with Recykal to be plastic neutral? Was it our digital solution, or was it the team? Was it us? Or what was the deciding factor for you, Rajesh?
Obviously, the digital feasibility or the advantage of your system is one of the criteria, but it is not just that. See, when we do the things, the digital platform, the data, all these are, according to me, my point of view, these are the easy things to get done. But what happened in the ground, that is the That's a real question. How we can deploy our people, how we can ensure that the supply chain throughout this process of collection, segregation, offsetting, how it will happen. So that is the biggest challenge, and we found that the Recycle have that capability as well, in addition to the digital capability. So that is what now in our selection process we choose you as our business partner in this journey, and it is just the beginning, and we are looking forward. No, it is now we just arrived at neutrality, and obviously the ultimate goal is not neutrality, but having the positive impact in case of plastics. So both the sophisticated tool that you have enabled us a lot, but more than that, the people on the ground, and that the other level of services, that also was the criteria or the decision making factor for us to choose Recycle. And thank you for that decision.
Rajesh, great. I think this has been a fantastic discussion and a podcast. We believe that we should do more of this in the near future to as you evolve in your journey of building a sustainable brand and a leader in this space. We at Recykal are very fortunate again to partner with Licious. We're very happy, and we thank you very much, you and the founding team and the leadership team at Licious, for partnering with us, and for you personally to have come and shared your experience and your deep insights in the space, and starting your journey in the neutrality together. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate that no, it's just beginning and not the destination. We will travel together for the positive impact, not only in the arena of plastic neutrality, but sustainability is such a big term, and it is not something that a business should start for tomorrow. It is something that this is the time, this is the need of the hour, and no one can achieve the sustainability goals by going alone. It's again required partnership, and we will be in this spectrum for it's our commitment for the entire planet. We should make this planet as what the ancestors give to us, to ensure in right quality and quantity all the resources, and that is what make our life meaningful, right? Thank you.
That's how we come to the end of the podcast, and looking forward to catch you all in another podcast sometime very soon. Thank you, Rajesh, and thank you, Licious team.